My name is Joe Scarborough and I am a painter of pictures, and I've spent my entire life in Sheffield, apart from little trips out to Scotland and most places that don't look like Yorkshire, but I'm always glad to get back.
Have you ever done any other job apart from being a painter?
My stars, yes. Being a painter, a term I prefer to being an artist. For a start, I worked at Bachelor's Peas straight from school, where women outnumber men 33-1. It was paradise for a 16-year-old boy. And then somebody invented rock and roll, and I couldn't afford the records, so I went down the pit. My father was furious. Joe, you've thrown away a good career with Unilever and all this sort of business. I wanted the money. I wanted that £30 a week that was held in front of me. And it was one of the best decisions I made, but didn't realise it at the time. I met some splendid people down there, and they were the sort of people that formed my character, bit by bit. Because my mother died when I was 8, so I was very, I don't know, bless our Joe, and all that sort of thing, which is not character forming. But when I got down the pit, my stars, you had to man up, as it were, to use an old phrase. And I enjoyed it. I put weight on, I put some muscles on my back and stuff like that, and I gained confidence. Having said that, they were a bit rough at times, but they were kind similarly. The first day down the pit, I came across my deputy underground, and we looked at each other. And by the way, 600 feet underground, I went down in a collar and tie, because I got through all levels, you see, so you're not talking to trash. And I looked at him and I thought, common working class tyke, and he looked at me and thought, bloody spoilt brat, And we started, right kid, what's the name? And I said, I am 643 Scarborough J. Right, 643, yeah. Right, we call Defiley, it's easier to spell. And that was the beginning of chop, 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 chop. And it worked. I mean, it really did work. You could have no airs and graces down Thorpe Hesley Colliery. And it was an old pit. We were shoving stuff up to the face on old-fashioned tubs. Now, I see these old engravings of child labour pushing their tubs. It wasn't all that far away from there. But, of course, being a young lad down the pit, a new lad, they put you with what you call a pit father, and he would guide you. Mine was John Hopkin. He must have been about 60 odd then, due for retirement. And of course I thought a lot about myself. Don't know whether I mentioned, by the way, but I have got 3 O-levels. Anyway, we were sat in an airlock one day, to stop the air exhausting itself out of the pit. And I got a book I was reading, and he suddenly says, I've done some book reading, then, Oz. And I went, oh, have you, John, really? Yeah. And then he launched into, once more to Breach, friends, of Philip Oil with English Deard. I thought, that's Shakespeare. He says it's from Henry V, you twerp. And what had happened that during the war, a lady had come from the Workers' Educational Association and taught him Shakespeare. Now, there is a poem called Elegy in a Churchyard, which basically says this man could have been a Cromwell, this man could have been... John Hopkin could have been far more than what he was. But what he was my pit father down the pit. And all of a sudden, rather than feeling cocky, I felt rather privileged that this man, was mentoring me. Wonderful, man.